You read the message once, then you read it again. Your friend canceled plans and said they were overwhelmed. At first, it sounds simple, but then the familiar thought creeps in. Maybe it's because of me. Did I say the wrong thing? Was I too much? Did I do something wrong? That quiet thought doesn't shout. It whispers. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. It turns a normal moment into a personal failure. It takes a neutral situation and makes you the problem. This is the voice of self-blame. For many people, this voice isn't occasional. It's constant. It runs quietly in the background of your daily life, explaining every disappointment, every shift in tone, every unanswered message as proof of personal fault. But what if that voice isn't truth at all? What if it isn't responsibility or maturity or self-awareness? What if it's a psychological trap that's been shaping your thinking for years without you realizing it? Today, I'm gonna pull that trap into the light. We'll break down why your mind defaults to guilt, where this pattern comes from, and how to begin stepping out of it without becoming careless or selfish. Let's be clear about something first. Taking responsibility is healthy. If you hurt someone, make a mistake, or break a promise, owning that matters. Healthy guilt helps us repair, learn, and grow. It strengthens relationships. But chronic self-blame is something very different. It's not about what you did. It's about who you believe you are. Self-blame tells you that you are the problem even when nothing points to you. It makes you apologize for existing. It makes you feel guilty for having needs, feelings, or limits. There's an important difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. Chronic self-blame quietly blends the two until every small mistake feels like proof that you are broken. This pattern doesn't come from logic. It comes from mental shortcuts called cognitive distortions. These are habits of thinking that twist reality. They turn neutral events into personal failures and normal uncertainty into self-accusation. And here's the key truth. You didn't invent those distortions. You learned them. The human brain learns through patterns. And for many people, those patterns formed early in life. If you grew up with a critical or demanding caregiver, you likely learned that love was conditional. Praise came when you performed well. Approval came when you behaved perfectly. When adults were stressed or angry, you learned to assume it was your fault. You became a watcher, a monitor, a child who scanned the emotional weather and you tried to fix it. If someone was upset, you took responsibility. You learned to believe that keeping others calm was your job. In some homes, children were pushed into emotional roles far too early. They became the listener, the peacemaker, the helper. This is called parentification. Your needs were pushed aside so you could manage the feelings of others. The lesson became deeply wired. My needs don't matter. Other people's feelings come first. If something goes wrong, I caused it. That belief doesn't disappear with age. It simply updates itself. Years later, when a coworker sounds short or a friend cancels plans, the same old alarm goes off. Fix it. Apologize. Take the blame. This early wiring creates the perfect environment for self-blame to grow. Once the pattern exists, certain thinking habits keep it running. The first is personalization. This is the belief that everything is about you. Someone seems distant, you assume it's because of something you did. A conversation goes quiet, you think you ruined it. You place yourself at the center of events that often have nothing to do with you. The second trap is emotional reasoning. This is when feelings are treated as facts. You feel guilty, so you assume you must be guilty. You feel like a burden, so you decide you are one. Logic gets pushed aside by emotion. The third is mind reading. You become convinced you know what others think about you, and it's never good. You assume disappointment, irritation, or judgment without real evidence. Your mind runs a full trial and hands down a guilty verdict without witnesses. Today, these distortions form a closed loop. They feed each other and make self-blame feel logical, even responsible. But there's another layer underneath all of this. Here's the paradox most people miss. Self-blame can feel like control. Life is unpredictable. People leave. Plans fall apart. Bad things happen for no clear reason. That randomness is scary. So the mind looks for order. Blaming yourself creates an illusion of control. If it's your fault, then maybe you could have prevented it. Maybe next time you can do better. Maybe you're not powerless after all. This is why people who experience loss or trauma often replay moments endlessly, searching for what they did wrong. It's not because they enjoy suffering. It's because believing you had control feels safer than accepting chaos. Self-blame becomes a way to stay mentally upright in an unpredictable world. Painful? Yes, but familiar. And for people who see themselves as responsible, reliable, and good, self-blame becomes part of identity. Taking fault feels like proof of character, a way to stay moral, a way to stay in control. But that shield comes with a cost. Living in constant self-blame keeps your nervous system on high alert. Your body stays in a low-level stress response. Over time, this changes how your brain works. Your fear center becomes more reactive. Neutral events feel threatening. At the same time, the part of your brain responsible for calm reasoning gets weaker. You panic faster and recover slower. This leads to overthinking, anxiety, and decision paralysis. You second-guess everything. You spend hours trying to choose the safest option so no one can be upset with you. It also damages relationships. People around you may feel forced into reassuring roles. They constantly have to convince you that you're not a burden. Over time, this creates distance and exhaustion. Worst of all, self-blame slowly erases your sense of self. You become quiet, over-accommodating, afraid to take up space. You confuse being easy to deal with for being lovable. This is not humility. This is self-erasure. The way out begins with awareness. The moment you feel that familiar drop of guilt, pause. Don't fix. Don't apologize. Just notice it. Name it. This is my self-blame voice. Naming creates distance. It moves you out of reaction and into awareness. Next, look for evidence. Ask yourself simple questions. What proof do I actually have? Did the person say this was my fault? Are there other explanations? Most of the time, the answer is yes. This step shifts you from emotion to reason, from assumption to fact. Then comes the most important part, self-compassion. Not confidence, not positive thinking, compassion. Ask yourself, what would I say to a close friend in this situation? You would not attack them. You would not shame them. You would offer understanding. Self-compassion means giving yourself the same basic kindness you give others. It does not excuse mistakes. It simply removes cruelty from the process. Finally, redefine responsibility. You are responsible for your actions, your words, and your efforts to repair harm. You're not responsible for other people's moods, reactions, or inner worlds. That boundary changes everything. Self-blame feels like responsibility, but it's not the same thing. It is a survival habit learned early and practiced often. It once helped you feel safe. Now it keeps you small. Understanding where this pattern comes from doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware. Awareness is the first real form of freedom. You don't need to stop caring to stop blaming yourself. You don't need to harden your heart. You only need to stop carrying weight that was never yours to hold. When you learn to separate what belongs to you from what doesn't, something quiet but powerful happens. Your mind softens, your body relaxes, your choices become clearer. Freedom from self-blame isn't about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to be human. Permission to make mistakes. Permission to exist without apology. Many of us blame ourselves for lots of things that have transpired in our lives. And we've got to give ourselves that bit of compassion. Now, I know when people experience loss, to say when someone transitions in your family, and depending on your proximity to them, self-blame can take over your mind. Say, for example, you have a family member who was on drugs and they overdosed and died. The person who blames themselves for everything, they will take that on head on. Maybe if I had taken them to rehab, maybe if I had spent more time with them, maybe if I wasn't so harsh on them when I was younger. We start to replay these things in our head. We may have children who, one or two of them, may not be doing so well. And as a parent, you might self-blame yourself because you feel you could have made a difference. But you have to have compassion on yourself, because I'm gonna tell you, these streets, in this world, in the social media conditioning on the mind of our youngsters is powerful. And you can't take the full blame, or blame, not to shirk responsibility, no. But you can't beat yourself down for something that's already happening. You can only plan on the future and what you can do to correct things. But all the while, don't beat yourself down. There are relationships that sour sometime, and it may not be our fault, but many of us take it that way. Yes, bear responsibility, but don't sit there like a broken record over and over and over. I know people who are self-blaming themselves for things that happened 40 and 45 years ago in a lost relationship. It's amazing. I can't understand it, but I have compassion toward it. But those people who beat themselves over the head and blame themselves in every situation that may not have anything to do with them, it's not a good thing. You can't enjoy life that way. You can't enjoy life that way. And you know, the funny thing about it is that when you have someone in a family who self-blames for everything that happens, there are people in that family, in that dysfunctional family, in that toxic family, who want you to maintain that mindset because you're like the safety valve, the pressure valve, because they don't want to feel guilt for something that may have happened. So they're glad that you're blaming yourself because it deflects that energy from them over to you, especially when you do it publicly. Say, for example, you have a family and there's an elderly parent or elderly parents, and you might not be able to afford a nursing home. Not that you want to take them there anyway, but you take turns caring with that parent. And the parent passes away. And it may not be because of a lack of care, but when the blame game starts, and you're one who self-blames, you pick up all of those blame pieces and you bear responsibility for it. And you carry guilt that's unnecessary, especially if it was something that happened of natural causes and they expire. But then you have other members of that family who don't want to accept that and they want you in that place. So if you are self-blaming, guess what? It's easier for the other family members to get money out of you, favors out of you, because deep down you feel you owe them something because you're to blame for that parent or your parents passing away. You see how the manipulation can go? And this is why from what I see, when you begin to come up out of self-blame and the mentality of self-blame, it's gonna rock the boat for other people in your life, not just family members who may want to keep you there, but friends who see that you're trapped. And these are not real friends now, but people who parade around as friends. Because lots of times you'll find out in this life that some friends hang around only because they want to see your downfall. And as every year goes by and you're thriving and ascending and on the constant upswing, they get more miserable and more miserable and more miserable. Now, I'm not one to self-blame, but to just go over the double yellow line for a second, I can talk about that. I once knew someone who we were pretty close, platonic relationship, a female. And I was going back and forth on my way out of this particular relationship, and every juicy detail, she would call me up and want to find out. And wondered why I wasn't freaking out. No, that's not my makeup. But don't you feel bad? Oh, what are you gonna do? Oh, now if I was one to self-blame, you'd find me somewhere balled up under a table somewhere. You know what I mean? Having some kind of breakdown. So when we have a certain energy about ourselves, we have to understand and be aware of how others deal with that energy. Like, what are they getting out of it? Not that everybody is going to get something out of it, but there are some people who derive some type of rush. There's some. Watch for those types of people around you. They're not truly in your corner. They just want to see your dismantling. Just like they say in Hollywood, in the entertainment business, in the sports world, they love to build you up to tear you back down. And if you're a person who self-blames, it's easy for these types to take joy in seeing your self-destruction. So be careful. Work on yourself. You see, we all know that older guy who has some classic muscle car that he takes out once a week on a Sunday, on a sunny day. But most of the time, that car is protected by a garage, protected from the sunlight to fade the paint, protected from the elements that will give it a bit of wear and tear just by sitting there. And this is how we have to be. Whenever we can, whether in the solitude of our own home or in public, in your own thoughts, you got to be like that car that's in the garage, constantly being worked on. Because remember, when you were young, physically, you didn't know how to walk. You crawled. You tried to get up on your feet, and sometimes you'd fall. And after that, in your determination to not want to feel pain, you made sure to master balance. And of course, we can trip sometime and fall, which is painful, but it's a reminder. Watch where you walk. But then we understand in our interactions with other people that we can fall and get hurt the same way. And so we can't allow this to happen. We've got to look out for certain signs with certain entities and energies and work on ourselves in our own garage, like that sports car, like that muscle car that the old guy has. Because even though we're growing from within, there are factors and there are elements outside of us that are always going to constantly attack us. And we have to have our armor up. Like they say, put on the whole armor of God. It's so true. Put on the whole armor, right? If you don't put on the whole armor, you'll be like that person who went to the hospital, admitted to the hospital, and they give you the hospital robe that you put on, but it never covers your backside. Ain't that something? Whoever makes those robes, they got a weird sense of humor, but your butt is always out, and they can attack you that way because you're not covered completely. That was just a joke. You don't have to laugh. Anyway, I'm going to work on some more things. I got a lot done today. I'm very happy with what I got accomplished. I'm very happy with the feedback that I'm getting. I love to speak about things that people don't necessarily think about or see from the outside, because for myself, I'm always trying to look at myself from the outside. Not by what I feel, what I think I see, what do I imagine, but who am I really? And how do I come off? And how can I improve myself inside and out? Not a superficial show, but the real deal. Because when you do that, like I like to say, you'll be like a hot, sharp knife cutting through butter effortlessly. Because once you can master yourself, there's nobody else out there that can take you down. And self-blame is a really easy way to get destroyed, because there are many people out here who are like maggots, who are like leeches with a smile on their face. And oftentimes it's the ones that are closest to you. Don't forget, go to LANCESCURVX.com, put in your email address so you get all of the posts that we put out, written articles, the videos. The same video you're looking at will be there. But if these social media platforms decide to take my platform down or erase some of the videos or content, you'll have them directly. We'll have a direct relationship with the content. I post every day. I post frequently. Every now and then, I have a busy day and can't do it, but you're sure to get content every single day from me. And the live shows also. LANCESCURVX.com, put in your email address, and guaranteed you'll have something to enjoy from me and all the others who come onto the platform every single day. Thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you and your support and your presence, and especially your feedback. Let me know what you thought about this and the other videos and stuff that I put out there, and let me know where you're communicating from. That's a big rush for me when I know that we're more than just local, that we're global, because we are a global people. We have to think that way. Much love to you all. Take care. LANCESCURV out. Peace.
MOMO.